Good evening and thanks for watching news at 8 on Times Television, TTV, with me, Wonder Sisia. But first, the headlines. Malawi Congress of Trade Unions cancels Thursday's demonstrations. Malawi Revenue Authority raids DPP Regional Governor for the South Charles MCHACHA'S house. And the Supreme Court of Appeal upholds CHANTHUNYA'S life sentence. We have these and other stories. Stay tuned. Malawi Congress of Trade Unions MCTU has cancelled the planned demonstrations which were slated for tomorrow, 15 July, against the recently amended Labor Relations Act. Speaking during a press briefing in Lilongwe on Wednesday, MCTU President Charles Kumchenga says they had an open dialogue with President Lazarus Chakwera this afternoon, where he expressed shock that Parliament passed the bill without thorough consultations. Blessings Mpinganjira has sent this report.
According to the president of the Malawi Congress of Trade Unions, Charles Kumchenga, the demonstrations which were planned for Thursday have been cancelled following the dialogue the union had with President Lazarus Chakwera on Wednesday afternoon. Kumchenga said that President Chakwera indicated that he would not accept the bill as it did not go through proper consultations.
We have suspended the demonstrations just because this afternoon of today we were called by the head of state and we went there as MCTU and we presented our grievances in the form of petition. And following the petition, after reading the petition, and the president has responded in the way that he has taken note of all the grievances which are in the petition.
On the other hand, MCTU Secretary General Madalitso Njolomole said President Chakwera has assured the union that he will not assent to the bill until thorough consultations are done. The demos were slated for Thursday, 15 July, in the four cities of Lilongwe, Blantyre, Zuzu, and Zomba.
Meanwhile, Presidential Press Secretary Brian Banda says the president will make a decision after receiving and analyzing the bill. He said President Chakwera has listened to the voices that have spoken on the bill and that he will take such into consideration. The Malawi Revenue Authority, MRA officials, on Wednesday raided the house and offices of Member of Parliament for Cholo West constituency and Democratic Progressive Party Regional Governor for the South, Charles MCHACHA. MCHACHA confirmed the development, saying it is a political witch hunt. He said the move is government's retaliation to DPP's press briefing in Mangochi, where he said Malawians are suffering.
They have come with the court order and they came with MRA people and some police officers. So they asked my wife to go inside at my bedroom and search everything, whatever they wanted to get. And they have got nothing because what they have found is just a check for FDH Bank and a certain application which I applied money to my National Bank. To me, I'm not surprised because one of them said that it's a political intimidation.
One of MRA officials, Stephen Kapoloma, has confirmed the development. A panel of 7 justices of appeal has dismissed murder convict CHANTHUNYA'S application to have his life sentence overturned. CHANTHUNYA was convicted of murdering his girlfriend, Linda Gassa, and was sentenced to life imprisonment. CHANTHUNYA'S lawyer, Michael Goba Chipeta, argued in the Supreme Court of Appeal that his conviction was based on circumstantial evidence and bogus colloques. State Prosecutor Stephen Kayuni held the court for agreeing with him that the evidence which was presented to the court proved that the offense was beyond reasonable doubt. There was a standoff between police and truck drivers in Lilongwe on Wednesday when the police blocked the drivers from holding demonstrations at Kanengo in the city. The truck drivers wanted to protest by stopping every heavy-duty vehicle from using the road, demanding that government address their grievances. Matthews Kasanda was at the scene and has filed this report.
Police officers at the scene said the truck drivers did not seek permission from authorities to demonstrate. Among other demands, the drivers want the cost of renewing passport to be reduced from 130,000 to 60,000 kwacha, salaries for trans-border drivers increased to 140,000 kwacha, while those operating within the country should be getting at least 100,000 kwacha per month. The drivers claim that some of them are still receiving 30,000 kwacha as their monthly salary. Earlier in the day, police detained 2 of the truck drivers for trying to stop heavy-duty vehicles in protest against what they call failure by authorities to address their challenges. But the 2 truck drivers were released later. Mpatso Moleni is Professional Drivers Union Secretary General.
They took 2 of our members. We don't know the intention of the police, but they are supposed to protect our members and provide security to our members.
Ministry of Transport spokesperson Andrew Mtiko has told Times that the ministry and the truck drivers had a meeting explaining that the 2 sides have so far reached a consensus. Mtiko says that what remains is for the 2 sides to sign a memorandum of understanding.
Timber sawyers under Reformed Timber Millers Union (RTMU) have resolved to hold vigils at Ministry of Forestry and Natural Resources offices at Capitol Hill in Lilongwe. The union says it has resolved to take such an action as the government is still adamant to hear their concerns on allocation of land for timber harvesting in Chikangawa Forest. The vigils have been scheduled for August 2nd, 2021, having held similar vigils at the Department of Forestry offices at Chikangawa, Vipa plantations for a week. Sam Kalimira with the full story.
The sawyers claim there are some companies, both local and foreign, that are operating in Vipia plantations without licenses and forestry management plan. Reformed Timber Millers Union President Ponda Mazale told journalist in Mzuzu that they have taken another step after realizing that the government is not listening to them. Ndambazale said over 2,000 sawyers from Chikangawa are ready to camp at Capitol Hill and Ngarango House to force Minister of Forestry and Natural Resources Nase Tembo to act on their request.
We are going right to the doorstep of the director himself, the director of forestry, that is at Ngarango House, and at the ministry's office, Honorable Nase Tembo. This is what we are doing. Actually, what we've done is we've already hired 6 buses. 3 buses will go to Ngarango House, then the other 3 buses will go to the minister's office. We are very, very serious on this issue, because we think the government is taking us for granted.
But Director of Forestry, Clement Chilima, said holding demonstrations is a human right and that the ministry cannot stop them. However, Chilima said some of the issues which they are raising were already tackled by his office and the office of the Vice President. Initially, the Sawyers Union, before it rebranded to Reformed Timber Millers Union, was given 10,000 hectares to manage and harvest trees in a period of 15 years, but was depleted within a year and 8 months. The 54,000 hectares Chikangawa Forest is managed by concessionaires, one of which is Library Malawi, which was given 20,000 hectares to manage through sustainable harvesting activities.
A baseline study by 2 organizations, Center for Civil Society Strengthening (CCSS) and God Care Rights Foundation (GCRF), has found that many NGOs are shunning hard-to-reach rural areas in project implementation. The development is said to be fueling cases of gender-based violence, among other issues. The report found out that information about GBV is unpopular in many hard-to-reach areas, as most non-government organizations opt out of working in very rural areas. Patience Lunda has filed this report.
One such area is Mpompa in Rumpi district, whose topography has led many organizations shunning the area, as observed in the study. However, the study revealed that domestic violence is at 46% in the areas where some GBV interventions are taking place, and most of the GBV cases are due to cultural harmful practices. Center for Civic Society Strengthening Executive Director Viwemi Chavula said this is affecting women mostly because most of them are not aware what violence is. Chavula added that the little population that is aware of GBV fail to report the cases due to the distance to places where they can access justice.
Information, awareness, or even interventions are not there because most would go for places that are maybe nearer the boma or where services can be easily sought and done. So in this area where we're working at, it's very rural, it's very peripheral, it's an area where even when we went there, we were told that you are the only NGO, the other NGO which was there has phased out. And as a result, automatically you would find that people on the ground might not have the same information or privileges as the other areas.
The report has, among others, recommended that courts and police formations should be brought closer to the people. Reacting to the research findings, Rumpi District Gender Officer Vincent Ruhanga admitted the GBV information gap in rural areas, calling upon other partners to help in addressing the challenge.
Quite a good number shining away because it's like, it is so vigorous, They have to travel to go to the hospital, they have to travel to go to the police, they have to travel to go to the courts. So that's why we've been crying for having things like one-stop center, so they can access the services at one go.
Center for Civic Society Strengthening and God Cares Rights Foundation are currently working with community stakeholders to find ways on how issues of GBV can be handled at local level.
Diagnosis of various diseases is expected to improve in the country following the accreditation of 6 laboratories. The Ministry of Health has handed out accreditation awards, the first of its kind in the country, called SADC Accreditation Services ISO 15189. Wezi Gausi has more in this report.
The laboratories would be instrumental in diagnosis and surveillance of various diseases, including HIV/AIDS, COVID-19, and malaria. Minister of Health Kumbize Kandodo Chiponda says the accreditation is the first of its kind in the country. She says Malawi will be recognized internationally as the laboratories have been accredited for producing accurate and reliable results across the globe in combating various diseases.
It is a good thing because it shows that you are achieving certain standards. So whatever results you get from there, are credible results. So it is important because they look at infrastructure, they look at the human resource part of it, they look at the equipment, they look at how you do your testing as well. So it is very important that we have achieved that, and we are very happy for this.
Investigator Alashley Abimuku says laboratories to be accredited, it takes a lot of effort and financial capacity.
This is really a great achievement for Malawi that for the first time they've got this number of accredited labs in the country. And the good thing about it is that these labs now become a resource for the rest of the laboratories in the country.
United States of America Ambassador Robert Scott says this is the first time an international organization has recognized Malawian laboratories. Over 70% of medical results depend on the laboratories. The accredited laboratories include Malawi Liverpool Wellcome Trust, Maiwatu Private Lab, Partners in Hope Lab, Dream Balaka Lab, Dream Blantyre Lab, and National Reference Laboratory.
You're watching news at 8 on Times Television, TTV, Times 360 Malawi Facebook page. We'll be back after this short break.
every mom, you want the best for your child.
Happy birthday.
You feed her mind and nurture her body. And you understand there are times you have to let her pick herself up when she falls. You make sure she knows the joy of sharing happy moments with family. And when everything comes together, you above all others will share the taste of success with her. Blue Band tastes like mama's love.
Ndi udindo wanga kupewa mimba yosakonzekera ndi kusalowa mbanja ndikanali wachichepere nditha kupita ku chipatala katengo pangirwa kulera kuti ndipitirize maphunziro anga ndi kukhala ndi moyo wathanzi.
Tangoganizani, Malawi amene achinyamata onse ali ndi kuthekera, ali ndi chidziwitso komanso ali ndi malo amene angathe kumapeza ku mauthenga ndi chithandizo pofuna kupewa mimba zosakonzekera. Izi zingawathandiza kuti adzakwaniritse masomphenya awo ndi kudzakhala nzika zothandiza pa chitukuko cha dziko. Uthengawu akukupatsirani ndi Malawi Girl Guides Association ndi thandizo lochoka ku United Nations Population Fund pansi pa maprogramu a Safeguard Young People ndi UN Joint Program on Girls Education.
Welcome back. You're watching News at 8 on Times Television, TTV, and Times 360 Malawi Facebook page. Some farmers in DEDZA district have lost trust in farm gate prices set by government for the 2020-2021 agricultural season. Government set the maize price at 150 kwacha per kilogram, but farmers in the area of Senior Chief Dambala are selling at 70 kwacha to the vendors. VIGILS has filed this report.
Group village headman Njolo says his subordinates have lost trust in this year's farm gate prices of maize. He says people are selling their maize to vendors at 70 kwacha, whilst government announced that the set minimum price was at 150 kwacha. Village headman Mtitimira says the absence of ADMAG has contributed to the low prices. He says the last time they had ADMAG market in the area was in the 1970s.
We walk a long distance of 20 kilometers, but the law says otherwise.
One of the country's agriculture expert, Tamani Konovula, says price fluctuation can be affected by a number of reasons. He cites lack of ADMAG markets in hard-to-reach areas. Mvula says in such a scenario, farmers have no option but to sell their produce to vendors at low prices.
Yeah, in most cases, when such prices have been set, because we are in a liberalized environment, market environment, it's a bit of a challenge to set stringent measures to make sure that these prices are being followed. What the government needs to have done is to use its machinery. In this case, I'm talking of ADMAC and also maybe NFRA, to make sure that they have open markets where the farmers are, so that the minimum price can easily be enforced.
In April this year, Farmers Union of Malawi President Frighton Jolomore asked the government to adjust upwards the minimum farm gate prices for maize.
One of the country's leading seed producers, Demeter Agriculture Limited, says influx of fake seeds on the market is hurting farmers through low crop production outputs. Demeter National Sales Manager Benson Banda was speaking in Lilongwe during an agro dealers training on Wednesday. Ellen Pindani has compiled this report, read by Wezi Gausi.
Banda says that fake seed poses a threat to the economy of a country that largely depends on agriculture, like Malawi.
Training them is very key, and the agro dealer, they're not just agri to sell, but they're also in business. So we'd like them to understand, so that they are not just there to make money, but they are there just like a basket, as they are making money, but they should also understand that the farmers should also benefit through them.
One of Demeter agro dealers, Chiko Chikaka, called for more sensitization among fellow agro dealers to refrain from selling fake seeds.
We are at least sensitizing people to buy original seeds, not the fake ones. If we see the fake ones, we are supposed to report to the company and even police.
Demeter has 350 agro-dealers countrywide.
And in international news, 7 COVID-19 vaccines have received the green light from the World Health Organization so far. And as the new variants of coronavirus evolve, questions arise about how well each vaccine works. It can get confusing, but VOA's Steve Baragona reports when it comes to keeping people out of the hospital and the grave, any shot will help.
With the Delta variant surging, reports show even some vaccinated people are getting infected with the COVID-19 virus. But those infections are mostly mild. All the vaccines are still working by the most important measure, experts say.
They're very effective in doing what we want them to do, which is protect people from serious illness and death.
A rash of infections in Israel raised concerns recently that some vaccines are weaker against the Delta variant. But Powderly tells VOA the shots are preventing the worst cases, as a surge in his home state of Missouri is showing.
They are seeing infections just like the Israelis saw in people who are vaccinated, but they're not seeing anybody coming into the hospital. All of their hospitalizations and unfortunately all of their deaths are in people who have not been vaccinated.
Some of the shots are better than others at priming the immune system. The mRNA vaccines from Moderna and Pfizer generally seem to produce the most antibodies, followed by the viral vector vaccines, Johnson & Johnson, the Oxford University AstraZeneca vaccine, and Russia's Sputnik V. The inactivated virus vaccines from China's Sinovac and Sinopharm are on the lower end of the scale. All of them produce enough antibodies to fight the original strain, but antibody levels start to matter more against the variants, experts say.
Maybe with the slightly less powerful vaccines, which aren't inducing quite such a strong immune response, the Delta agent is starting to break through, still maintaining some protection against the more severe end of disease, but it's clearly a sort of sliding scale now.
And the Pfizer, Moderna, AstraZeneca, J&J, and Sputnik V vaccines all seem to be better than Sinopharm and Sinovac at activating the body's second line of defense, called T cells.
A backup immune response, like a T cell response, are going to provide better protection against diverse variants, viral variants, than an inactivated vaccine that only induces antibodies.
Still, Fuller says, the Sinopharm and Sinovac shots are much like the annual flu shot. Not perfect, but better than nothing, despite the complaints she hears every year.
I hear somebody gets a vaccine, they say, well, I'm never going to take it again because I got sick anyway. And my response is always this, is that, you know what, you would have been a lot sicker, potentially in the hospital, if you hadn't gotten the vaccine.
And she says all the shots help slow the spread of the virus, which means fewer chances for dangerous variants to evolve. Steve Baragona, VOA News.
That item concludes the news, but before we go, the headlines again. Malawi Congress of Trade Unions cancels Thursday's demonstrations. Malawi Revenue Authority raids DPP Regional Governor for the South MCHACHA'S house, and the Supreme Court of Appeal upholds CHANTHUNYA'S life sentence. Remember, you can get more on these and other stories by visiting our website www.times.mw, liking our Facebook page Times360 Malawi, and following us on Twitter at Times360 Malawi. Remember to wash your hands regularly, observe social and physical distance, and mask up. Please stay safe. You've been with me, Wanderer Msisia. Continue watching the rest of the programs. Goodbye.